All they want to do is talk Kates. Crosstalk, crosstalk. All they want to do is talk Kates. Crosstalk, crosstalk. All they want to do is talk Kates.
Well, well, well. Listen to that intro music. I guess we have some real fans. If you listen to the last episode of CROSSTALK,
We debuted
a couple jingles, and that's what you just heard at the top of this. Our fan submitted intro songs and outro songs will be playing this episode, and they're getting treats that you won't be getting because you didn't make music for us.
But we're back here. Issue 5 of Crossover got released, and we bring you Crosstalk now.
Crossover number 5, the issue that famously had a horizontal cover.
Remember that comic book Barrier?
It says strong barrier vibes.
I kept on thinking it was Barrier.
Because it's like almost the same colors as the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Image.
It's on Image. It has a horizontal cover. I loved it. I thought if it's not a homage, it should be.
This is the 5th issue of the 6-issue arc for Kids Like Chains. So we will see what happens there. And we have been promised, as we talked about in episode 1,
Huge reveal.
that issue 4 and 6...
3 and 6.
3 and 6, sorry. 3 and 6 are the ones to own.
We hash this out every episode, guys. 3, we talked about it 2 episodes ago. It had a big reveal. Madman was in the comic book.
And then 6 is going to have Spawn.
You think?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Logic leads to Spawn because it's named Kids Like Chains.
Correct.
Spawn's already been on a cover.
Yeah.
Yes.
So to see him pop up
And-
makes a lot of sense.
And Donnie's going to be writing for Spawn.
Yes, that's true. The Spawniverse is getting bigger.
Yeah. Can we talk about that for a second?
Hell yeah, it's adjacent.
Do you guys think that that's going to take off and be successful?
Yes,
You do? Okay.
I really do because
Speak on that.
Spawn is already at over 300 issues just on the main line.
Right.
There is a fan base that is keeping Spawn alive.
Uh-huh.
Toys, insanely popular.
The 90s movie?
90s movie, still holds up.
Does, yes.
A new TV show on HBO is coming out for Spawn.
Oh,
so
I
like,
didn't know that.
I didn't know that
so
either.
Spawn has never been hotter. Even though he lives in hell, he has never been hotter.
Is there any heat or buzz on this Spawn universe kickoff book
Yes.
that She-Spawn is on the cover of, which again, hate that name.
Yes. Agreed.
I think they're going to go off like gangbusters because the first few issues of every new Spawn series that's going to come out is just first appearance after first appearance. And so
Oh,
people are
okay.
going to go apeshit for these things.
All right, got it.
So get your first issues of Spawn now while they're still $45.
Is that how much they're going for?
Yeah,
It's a good price.
it is a good price. And if you get the special cover that doesn't have black on the front, the misprint,
Mhm.
which they printed a handful of, you could have a extra special one. That's a little tip from First Issue Club. The reason I mentioned number 6 being the big book and number 3 being the big book is that this, to me, felt like a classic connector book. You have a couple different things that need to happen. We need to get from point A to point B.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it was a bad book, but at the end of it, I felt like I was like,
Yeah, this is the alley-oop. This is them throwing the ball up,
this is the assist.
and
Yeah.
6 will be the dunk.
We wouldn't look at it this way if the essence of the thing wasn't a big reveal.
Correct.
Otherwise, I think you would have been like, whoa, the lead character who's a cosplayer turns out to actually get superhero powers because of an artifact from another Donny Cates book.
Yes.
Yep.
And that scene is amazing. The artwork on this, Jeff Shaw was just like insane.
They do a Matrix joke
Yeah.
where
Yes.
she says, I think I know Kung Fu after she holds it.
It was beautiful. The reason why I threw out the connector thing is that one of the main storylines here is that there was a terrorist act that happened that caused the government to bomb the dome. For me, there's a couple things. One, the terrorist that gets blown up.
This is just for you, okay?
For me, this
I'm ready.
If there's a podcast just for me, here it is.
How I read comic books, this is what needs to happen for me to be
Yes,
enjoying
for
it.
me, or that I'm like the neckbeard now.
I think you're about to prove right now this is not just a connecting issue. A lot of things happened.
They happen too fast. I can skip what I was gonna say and
Is it
say
pacing for
that
you?
that it was just like boom terrorist act, boom planes, now amalgam's fighting, and it was like, whoa, okay.
You wanted
Like-
to stretch that stuff out more.
A little bit. I think it was like all of those things were interesting.
Yeah.
Even how amalgams were being made by the government and like used for this, I kind of wanted to see that.
What we're talking about Amalgam was a DC Marvel crossover
Comic book event.
where they smashed the characters together.
Like Combo Man.
This issue pays that off by showing these characters, and we're probably skirting around some licensing issues because we clearly have like Wolverine's head on like Wolfbane's body. That's not exactly what was
Right.
the mashup, but you get my drift. I think they can get away with doing really clear allusions to characters, but it's not that actual character. Gamora's head was obviously on one of these characters' bodies.
Yeah. And
So it was super fun to see all of these things acknowledged.
I didn't dislike it. It really, really sets up 6. Like it's kind of setting up the big end of the arc.
Let's talk about the end that transitions us to a nice cliffhanger
Mm-hmm.
for the next book.
What is the name of the orphaned character that Madman rescued?
Orphan Comic Girl.
She has a name though. Jera, Tara, Lara, Spera, Kara. No,
Go through the whole alphabet.
doesn't matter.
Let's call her Orphan Comic Girl.
Okay. In issue 2, I think 3, doesn't matter. It was kind of revealed like, ooh, she got powers.
Her eyes glowed, and we go, "Oh, wait a minute,
Uh-oh.
not good in comic books."
Yes. And so that's come to fruition, and she's going nuclear.
She's just trying to stop all of the planes and everyone fighting. So she's just. It looks like her powers are really based on emotion, and she doesn't know how to control them.
She's hulking.
Because she attacks. Well, she doesn't attack, but one of the stray energy beams hits Madman, and even Madman's just like, I can't stop what is happening right now. She is going to kill all of us. It doesn't matter if we're good or bad. She's just out of control. And then the cliffhanger you're talking about is the preacher's son pulls out his smoking kryptonite gun and says, I think I know how to stop her.
So is he going to shoot what's-her-butt? We know that Ellipses and Preacher's son end up in love at some point. That hasn't happened yet. They haven't known each other long enough to fall for each other. My assumption would be that if he shoots this little girl, that relationship is done.
That's pretty much a mood killer when you watch a child get murdered in front of you. So I think, I don't know. This book has done some surprising things that I didn't think it would do. Sure. So who's to say what's going to happen? I would assume they are not going to kill a child in this book. This could be the situation where where Spawn shows up and stops him or takes the gun out of his hand. But it from what we're seeing, it's showing him just, staring down the barrel of a green 45.
Did it matter at all that the superhero that causes the terrorist act was not like dotted old like comic book? Like,
yes, it's. Do you remember who that is?
It's the person that the guy kept captive in his basement.
Yeah.
But
he got reported because he fancied himself
a
superhero, or I guess someone who stands alongside superheroes.
But he was a superhero, which is right because he caused this explosion.
I think they use a special dampening ray on him, and I think they may have put something in his chest, so when the dampening rays were hit with it, it exploded whatever was in his chest.
Why did they think he was a superhero if he didn't look like a comic book?
Because I think the preacher called it in as he was a random superhero, and then he cut off his tongue, so he couldn't tell him
anything.
one way or the other.
Right.
And I think this just kind of...
So not all superheroes look like comics.
Well, no, I think what they're maybe alluding to is that these people are so bigoted towards anything superhero, they don't even take the time to notice if you're monochromatic or not, or dotted
maybe they're
color.
Just jailing sympathizers for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't think that it mattered, and you're supposed to analyze like why was he dotted or why was he not.
Yeah.
But it was like obviously he wasn't dotted.
But it's a good point to bring up, because if their job is to put away comic book heroes, they've seen enough of them to know, oh, well, he's not like dotted or kind of look like he's from a comic book.
If
so
he was a letter in the alphabet, he wouldn't be an I or a J.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
not dotted.
Yeah.
that was a good joke.
Oh, thank you.
That was a certified CROSSTALK good joke.
Hey, well, we did it.
So did they break into the dome though successfully, or are they on
Yes.
the outskirts
No,
of the dome?
Balifax got them inside the dome.
Okay, zoop, they're in the dome, and then they have to fight.
They have to fight the amalgams, which is like the Frankenstein golem creatures that they were made in the lab by the military. Is that who was doing it? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So we're gonna get a lot of hopeful bloodshed in issue number 6.
Yep. More allusions to characters because of all that.
Are we still hope that it's Spawn that we're seeing in 6?
I hope that it's Spawn or bigger.
I hope. Yeah, I don't know who would show up though. I mean, I think we can safely say it's not going to be anyone from DC or Marvel. I don't think they're going to be able to pull that.
It'd be so fucking cool if it was.
I mean,
come on.
All the quotes that Donnie was saying was like, "You won't believe what we did." If we're all saying it's Spawn, then
you believe it.
his quote was like kind of dumb because I believed it, right? So for me to not believe it, we better be seeing Cyclops or Storm.
Would you put Hellboy in this category?
I wouldn't believe Hellboy.
Oh
Yes,
shit,
Oh.
that would be dope.
because that's Dark Horse.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
That'd be hard to do. iZombie, hard to do.
But another all red.
Yeah, but another all red, and exactly. So that's why I kind of thought maybe that would happen.
Right.
So I don't know.
Spawn does seem like the easy pull, and it would seem kind of anticlimactic. I wouldn't be upset if it did show up
If it
because
was,
it'd be a lot of fun.
I'd love it if it was like Wildcats.
Just something
yeah,
like
let's
completely
just
off.
say it's not more than one person.
Right.
That'd
it,
be sick.
It could easily be Wildcats, because then it could be Grifter
What if it's Betty Boop?
from.
It's
Oh,
Winnie the Pooh. Did you believe it?
Winnie the Pooh.
Or Casper.
Sonic.
Yeah, any one
It's
of
Mr. Peanut.
Yeah,
He
could be
wasn't dead after all.
those. He
Could be-
was in crossover.
Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Oh my god, this is like so many possibilities.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's kind of like I believed it if it was anything Image. If it becomes something not Image, I'm just like, way to go, man. Well,
Yeah.
you did it. You actually did something that I didn't think you could do and change the face of comic books forever.
You know what you could get away with? Thor.
Yes, you can,
You
because
can't
it's done.
own Thor.
It's been done.
That is very true. Do you think they'd have to change him just slightly?
He can hold a hammer. He can be a blonde,
Is this because
iconic.
he's like mythology?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
Exactly right.
That'd be way, way interesting.
That's a good point. You could do Loki. You can do Odin.
Uh-huh.
That would be That is an interesting loophole.
Huh?
Very interesting.
Mike D over here.
Mike D pulling in the hits. I have an item to bring up.
Oh.
Issue number 7 has the cover of a missing poster of a one Chip Zdarsky
Oh yeah.
I
with a
saw that.
bloody handprint on it.
Right.
Do you know who's writing that issue?
Is it Chip?
A one Chip Zdarsky is writing that issue.
I didn't know that.
So I think this is my hypothesis, is that in issue 1 we got a few cheeky name references to creators and that they were still missing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping after every arc that Donny Cates writes, those creators get to write their own story of like what happened to them
Yeah.
when the superheroes came
'Cause it
back.
does
Or
it-
use their characters. Like, could sex criminals show up?
That would be
Oh, yeah.
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because it doesn't start the new arc. It's the in between.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just like a one-off thing of just like what happened to Chip.
Yeah. I love that.
So I think I'm actually really excited for that issue because I'm a big Chip Zdarsky stan. I love everything he writes,
Yeah.
and
Could he do Rocket? bring the stuff that he's done at no, because Donnie hasn't done that
Right.
either. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no.
it would be hilarious if Donnie couldn't do it, but Chip could.
But Chip could.
He brings Daredevil into the crossover universe.
Oh yeah.
So is he just doing? He's doing the one.
I think he's just
standalone.
doing one standalone. Like the creative team's getting a break
Yeah.
after this arc, and then Chip's doing one, and then back to Donnie.
It felt like forever between issues of crossover.
This has really been spaced out.
I didn't know if that was just because I'm looking forward to it every month. That I'm like, man, it seems like it's been forever. If it actually has,
it could be, and the fact that we usually consume on a weekly basis. So
right.
It's that whole of like you're used to binging things on Netflix, and now even waiting a week in between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier is like, okay, when's the next one?
Yeah.
I had that problem where I was like, what happened in the fourth book? Like, and I was like,
maybe a little too far apart.
Yeah, it was like, oh, there was like the guy they were keeping captive because they just kind of get right into it.
Yep.
And one thing Image could do, a little like Marvel and DC does, is a little bit of a preview primer in the beginning where they're just like, last time we left you with this little thing.
Last time on Crossover. Or just listen to this show.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good plug for us.
Within the thing we're promoting.
Hey, can I plug our show real quick? Guys, listen to Crossover.
Yeah, don't want to read.
I mean, listen to CrossTalk where we talk about crossover.
If you don't want to read a comic, listen to an hour podcast.
It's Fabu.
What a great tagline.
All right. Last time, Budget King, you said you've had fucking enough with the paybacks and you are done with them. Get them the fuck out of here. They're still in the comic now.
I'm still annoyed.
Yeah.
Like they're distracting. Like I'm just like, you didn't give them character development in this comic book.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
They're just fodder to have superheroes running around. It's nice that they're going to be here for the fight, the big fight. I'm glad that they're actually here to defend them, but they don't do anything to advance the storyline. And I can't remember who is who or what they do or what their powers are.
Yeah.
So
does that just spell the recipe that they're not going to make out of this
they're all
fight?
red. They're all red shirts. It's either that or it's a giant fucking ego stroke by Donnie, which I don't think it is.
Whoa.
Careful, this is a podcast about his body of work.
I know. And we love it. We obviously love everything he does, or else we wouldn't dedicate a whole separate show to his work. But I think that like if it isn't, then nobody can be expected to care about the paybacks, I feel like.
I'll agree with that statement.
So
you can't force love.
So
you have to earn it.
You have to earn that love.
It hasn't been earned with these characters.
So I think they're gonna have to die. If they're not gonna have to die, then they're gonna have to do something to make the reader care about them.
Maybe that's the grand reveal in issue 6.
Paybacks really matter.
It's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, I don't know. What's your answer to your question?
Do I care that the paybacks are still in it?
Yeah.
I think you hit it on the head when you said they're probably red shirts.
Okay.
I think that they're here to fend off amalgams, and that worked perfect. So we could have our main characters we have been following progress the story. It's focusing back on them a little more. And I think that's the kind of like wave and flow that's going to go through this book. Like you're going to see really fun characters you're like either sort of familiar with or no. And there's going to be cool nods to the things that happen in those stories. And then they're going to dip out, get killed willy-nilly. And it's, I think like most comics, it's experientially going to be a lot better when collected.
I think I agree with that, and I think that I would be fine with Mad Men sticking in the comic book for a while.
Sure, you like Madman sticking around.
I think it adds an element of like absurdity, but also makes sense.
Yeah.
Then I'm kind of like fine.
Yeah.
Any predictions for 6 since it's the big book?
Just the grand reveal of whatever superhero or superhero team. I mean,
that cliffhanger I think is going to be portal into comic book world.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we've talked about a little bit, or maybe Ellie finds something out about her parents. There's something that they have been teased constantly and she wants to get back to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to, I think, end on some note where you see something in a panel and you're like, shit, where does this go now? It would be cool if there was like portals into comic book world.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the creators, the writers, like Donny Cates and Chip Zdarsky and people like that, they created these comic books, and these characters are now bleeding into our world. So is that like if they write a new script of comic book, a new character pops up in our world? Can comic book creators control what's
like the
gonna
Page
be
Master,
happening?
like the Macaulay
Yeah.
Culkin book.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I guess in this universe,
They're writing them into existence.
Right. So, like, if something happens, they're just like, we need this guy here. And, like, Chip Zdarsky writes a piece of script and, you know, a guy with 4 arms with swords shows up or whatever.
Goro.
Good pull.
And that's the reveal in 6.
Goro with swords. Yes, it's all I ever wanted.
Hey, guys, what about Goro, but with swords? Chips, quit fucking pitching that idea.
Who is the X-Men that has 4 arms and swords?
Oh, Shiva? Or something like along those lines.
Shiva is the god that has 4 arms.
I know,
yeah.
but I think it's a play off of
Oh,
that
is it?
name,
Okay.
yeah.
My prediction for episode 6 is that it's going to be like a gourmet meal in that, like,
It'll be expensive.
you have so many appetizers that when you get to the main course, you're like, that is good, but I've already enjoyed myself. So there's going to be like a bunch of like little reveals that you're like,
It's fucking Garfield!
And then when you get to the big one, you're like, oh yeah, I knew that was gonna happen too, but I've completely enjoyed this this garlic bread.
It's just the family from Better or for Worse. Just getting mowed down.
Family circle.
God, the
Little
funny.
footprint tracks.
Yeah. Calvin.
Yeah.
He's pissing on the dome.
Oh, if Calvin is pissing on something,
A Chevy truck sign is like, oh man, Calvin, come on. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm a Ford man.
Whoa!
And that's how we end the show.
We crossed over our own thoughts.
CROSSTALK!